Are we starting the podcast?
Stop it. I'm so
Hey, everybody.
We're so cute.
We're like doing it. And since we're doing this, I'm going to pour a little bit of bubbly. Welcome to the Design and Life podcast.
Welcome to the Design
Meets Life
podcast. We're so excited. I mean, we're about to become your go-to discerning podcast for enthusiasts of design, art, infotainment, gossip, the gift of gab. I'm reading because it's all written out here really nicely for me. So I'm
Exactly.
gonna, I just have to do this. We've done this before, but
We've done this before, but this is the first time we're actually launching.
Yes, we're launching
A little
Design Meets
podcast. And we're doing this on the fly as well, Children of the Corn. But
We are.
hey, we're making a podcast happen, y'all. Let's make this happen together. Now, the Design Meets Life podcast, what we really want to do, I mean, we're featuring yours truly, this queen sitting next to me, Kelli Ellis, who is not just a TV personality, she's also a design psychologist expert. And I have some questions about that in just a minute. But I didn't pour myself nothing to drink, and I don't know why.
I'll introduce myself a little bit. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Kelli Ellis. I know it sounds like something that you would get like a rash, like I have Kelli Ellis. Or maybe something you'd plant in the backyard that sort of vines and grows. Is that a Kelli Ellis? It is. But you remember it.
Is it a It's not a palindrome, but it feels like it could be.
Yeah, easily, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
Kelli Ellis.
It's a Kelli Ellis orchid. I am a licensed artist. I do host a television show. We'll talk about that in a minute.
In just
Very
a sec.
excited.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
it just launched.
Second episode's coming out now.
Yeah,
It just came out.
Yep, exactly. Actually, Oh, thank you so much. I wanted to match our logo.
Damn,
I know.
love it.
I know. We'll show our logo in a minute, right?
Hell yeah.
Okay, good. So what I wanted to do is take this journey with you and just talk about design. Design meets life. Like, what does that mean, right? And so I couldn't do it without my faithful homie, radio host, educator, historian, Lucas Avram.
Lucas Avram. With my Texas roots hailing from Brooklyn, I have been here now for
A couple years.
almost 15 years. This summer will be 15 years, and it has been real. I also help run English Radio Barcelona here in the Catalan region of Spain, and work a lot with education for Cambridge and in history, and it is real, folks. But also, I come from a family who were extremely involved and are extremely involved in real estate and design.
Right.
And so our pairing together, also coming from a background of entertainment in New York City.
You don't get that voice for nothing, I mean.
Right, my mom was a lesbian. She's dead now. But I'm kidding, she wasn't. And maybe I shouldn't say that.
No.
But she does love men like I do. But we want to bring together this because we have so many beautiful things. Now, we also have to keep it real. We're broadcasting from Barcelona, Spain.
Yes.
Now, does that make an effect for you? Do you see a difference in design coming from, because you're based in both coasts, you're always back and forth.
Back and forth.
What do you see a major difference between the LA look and our look, Miss?
Oh, we're much more formal here.
Really?
Yeah. LA is still California, right? So to the rest of the world and the US, it's very crunchy in LA. We wear Habayanas to basically which is a flip-flop. A leather flip-flop brand.
Now you sound like John Kerry with them flip-flops. Okay, no. So what do you mean? Please.
We're so casual.
We were talking about chanclas before.
We're really, really casual. So Los Angeles,
Lord.
and here you don't walk around in your yoga pants, ladies, unless you are going, in fact, to yoga. So people dress here. There's a very different aesthetic here. It's a city vibe. It's very metropolitan. It's Europe. And so people, I know, I didn't used to think that we stood out, but we do.
So wait a minute. Do girls, I'm sorry to interrupt my queen. Do girls still do our, like, juicy couture and stuff to
Lululemon to walk around all day outside.
What
to
is,
shop
for us boys, what is Lululemon, please?
Really incredible, fantastic brand. I have to say this. They are really the most comfortable, and they have men's clothing. And men love the Lululemon pants, by the way. Sorry, but they are. They're a great brand. They're probably fast fashion and totally not cool to even say. But
I did not know that.
When you buy one pair, you hold on to them for forever.
What are they made of?
Everything.
Elastic and acrylic?
Everything that's not necessarily great for your body, maybe. I'm really, truly not the one to ask. It's not my forte. But I will say this, that I'm not dumping it in a year.
Okay.
It
so
lasts.
it is decent quality.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
See, this is something that a designer that I didn't know, and now you're gonna clue it in for us. So I have some okay, well, I do want to make a shout out because
Yes.
we just mentioned about 3 or 4 minutes ago that Lady Kelli has also her new series out. It's called, and I'm going to pump it up, Extravagant Spaces.
Yes, it is. Extravagant Spaces.
Please tell us about it because I flipped out with the first one.
I know.
And we need to do that drinking game one day.
Oh, well, because it's pretty much an entire episodes of me just looking shocked the entire time. Because we are touring some incredible homes.
Absolutely.
Put on by the Design Network, one of my favorite networks ever. It's such a pleasure to work with. They came to me and said, look, I've hosted several shows on the Design Network before. They came and said, hey, we want you to host this show. It's basically touring extravagant spaces. It could be homes. It could be other things. Season 2 will be fun. But this season is about insane houses in Scottsdale, Arizona.
But can we talk about the insanity of this? Okay, the first one was how many square?
The second one was 64,000 square feet. Okay, that's
Which
a
is the
mini
new
mall.
episode.
Yes.
And here in Europe, that is streaming on Rakuten.
Rakuten on Pluto and Apple TV.
It is on Pluto
Yes,
as well.
yes.
All right,
Yes.
folks. So there's no excuse, especially for those who are on terrestrial television. It's on Pluto TV as
That's
well
right.
and online.
That's right.
And on the Design Network in North America, I believe.
Correct.
Now, for our European audience, we're talking about houses that range between 4,000 and 10,000 square meters.
Right.
Okay, these are extravagantly huge spaces. But
Right.
one of the beauty things about that is that you have an eye that notices it now. You did keep saying that. Take a shot. You joke. You texted me. Take a shot every time I say what?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And I try not to say it, and then I stop myself halfway through, and I'm thinking, no, it's still the same. But it's such a wow show, and there's so many details that are just not normal life. And it probably because I have gone back and forth now, going back into some of these spaces, I'm extra wowed. But I am my
Even after
job
all these years?
Yeah, but my job as a host is to be you, the viewer, and to have enough knowledge to impart a few little pearls of wisdom along the way. Okay. So I have a dual role, right? I have to do both things. I have to be you and ask the questions that you would ask.
Science psychology.
Right. And then I have to be also smart enough to know the answers and be able to pepper that in.
Do you, obviously you flip through your roles. One of the things that we were talking
Yes.
about last week was, one of the reasons why we jived when we met 2 years ago was we're always the same person, whether we're in a studio, whether we're on the street with people, with strangers, whatever, at work. Obviously, sometimes you have to put a little more tact with work, but still, you keep it always the same.
Always.
How do you flip-flop when you're having to be you and be that person and do that?
I think the tone of my voice, I realized, it just changes. That's all. It's the same. It's the same, similar words, same or similar words, right? Because even with my work life and being, a team leader, you still, even then, I'm still myself, but your tone changes, and that's really interesting. So it all relates back to designing your life, right?
With you in it.
That
was
the
one of the
point.
things, because I don't. I design my life with me only helping, serving, making others.
But that is your life. You've designed that. You've designed that role for you, right? So
I need to remember to put back to me, though.
you
That's
do,
the
and everybody
issue.
does. I think,
Yeah.
if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're trying to be a working mom, which was fun, you're trying, or a stay-at-home dad, or a single parent, or whatever, you're balancing constantly, and we do forget about ourselves. I think we've circled back,
am
though.
I? What the fuck?
I know. I think we've circled back, though. I think that we have put the focus back on ourselves a little bit. I keep hating to, I don't like referencing COVID, but we're just going to do it because it's real life and it was a huge, big thing that everybody went through.
That's
Right? Is that we realized, one, how important our homes were and how they didn't work for us. Wow. Yeah. Or worked.
I was so happy to be home.
Right?
COVID was damn great for me.
Well, there's a lot of people that are running out the door every single day that they actually got to be home with their children, got to be with their partners, got to be with themselves,
With your baby
got to be with your babies at home, all of those things. So it wasn't necessarily bad, but it also highlighted all the things that we needed to focus on: our health, our mental health and well-being, right? Physical health and well-being, and our surroundings. And so that's it. I
That's
think we're
all
there.
of which is the design meeting your life.
Exactly.
So to quote Naomi Campbell, and yeah, she was on the Epstein list, but she didn't do it. She didn't know. But to quote Naomi Campbell, I think she said one of the most poignant things about it when it happened.
Yeah.
I know, but
I'm
we're
like-
talking.
I'm going.
She's like, what is she going to say? But she said, I think this was a collective moment of the universe saying, no, stop, no more. Stop with the consumption, stop with the globalization, stop with the contamination, stop with the pollution, stop with the killing. Everybody just stop.
Right.
The whole world just stopped, and it did
It
for a
was
good
kind of amazing.
6 months.
It was
maybe.
it was amazing to watch, actually, to think that we could we collectively had. Yeah, I was here.
You were here.
Yes, and I just had gotten here. I just got here.
God.
Welcome. Now
Wow.
stay inside, right? So I just got here, and around the world it was treated differently. Back home in Orange County, people were going to Orange County just to have a staycation from COVID because it was a little
Up in Girona here.
Right, right. It was a little looser because you're not close quarters like we are here. It was very, very different. But yeah, it was a moment, and it was actually kind of amazing to see the world. But if we didn't have the social media ills, people say, "Oh, social media is so terrible and it's awful." But is it? Because we also get the balance of social media. So if we didn't have the mediums that we do, we'd still be dealing with the COVID. It would be the plague of our time.
And
because
it really has been.
It has been, but it'd be worse. Way worse if we didn't have the ability to actually shut the world down. We had that ability.
We really shut the world down.
And we had the
What have
ability.
we exist? What have we lived through?
Right. It's
in
incredible.
a way, when
Yeah.
we're talking about designing your life and meeting, we've all been through a collective trauma.
Right. But I think that's why this topic, designing your life, being intentional about your
Setting those
home.
intentions,
Yep.
yeah.
Set the intentions, being intentional. So design psychology. We'll talk about that now.
Please, because that's one of the
Yes.
questions, and we have a beautiful guest who's going to
I
come
know,
on
I
in
can't
and
wait.
pontificate more on that.
Yeah, I can't
In fact,
wait.
should we give a shout out? Let's just give a quick shout
Let's
out.
do that.
Oh my God, Senor Gustavo Ruiz, who is one of the one half of the Shoot Studios.
I love that. I love
and the Royale here in Barcelona now. I met this gentleman. He's going to be joining us in just a bit on Design Meets Life 8 years ago, maybe 8 or 9. And the fact that his company with this beautiful man has just exploded
That is so
into
great.
beauty. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But since we're talking about design psychology, and I come from a family that has a lot of that within them of design interior. My father is great with that. But I lack that. I completely lack the design gene. And I'm a homosexual. So what can one do for simple ways to change that? What could I do? Like, teach your brother.
Yes.
Psychologically, in fact.
It's so funny because this whole design psychology thing was really fascinating to me. So I grew up with a mom who took me around to model homes and art auctions and antique auctions, right?
Okay.
So, and I hated it
A
at
little
one
bit,
point.
me too, actually.
Right?
Antique homes.
Yeah. I despised it, and then I learned to love it in a nanosecond, especially with the home tours. And what got me every single time was when people are walking around the home tours with you. Remember how popular it was, right? When
Okay.
the explosion of homes everywhere. And you could listen to a couple walk through the house, and one would say, I hate it, and one would say, I love it. And I'm walking around thinking, why? What happened to you in your brain in that nanosecond? And what happened to you in your brain in that nanosecond to say, I love it and I hate it? That's how it started. So at that moment, I just went to the whys of design. So you go back in history and say, does this look like your childhood home and you had a terrible childhood and that's why you hate this place? Does it look like something that is institutionalized for you? What does it remind you of that makes you have such a visceral reaction of I hate it? So now you go into your own home. This is the appreciation exercise. In the book, Do I Look Skinny in This House?
Which is your...
Yes.
Do I look skinny in this house?
Yes. You can go and download it on my website, kellyellis.com. Kelli with a heart, ellis.com. And you
Freshly refurbished, this beautiful
It is.
website.
It
by
is.
ladies.
Spencer Moore. I love her so much. She did
Lady
such a good
Spencer
job.
Moore.
Oh
Shout
my
out,
God.
Mama. Mwah.
She did a fantastic job. But you can download the book there. It's very fun, but there's something in there called the appreciation exercise. And we need to appreciate
this.
everything. Yes, you do. So you walk into a space, any room in your house, start at one point, and that'll be your 12 o'clock. Go clockwise around the room and assign a visceral emotion to every single thing in the room. So slowly turn as you stand in the middle of the room and look at it. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or meh? If the majority of the things in that space are met or hated, you probably don't use that room. You don't want to be in that room, and you don't know why. So you need to really be intentional about the things you surround yourself with. I used to have to hit this point so hard home before the pandemic. Now I don't. Now everybody gets it because they stared at the same things for months in their homes, constantly looking and staring at, do I like this thing? Do I not like this thing? What is this? Who gave us this? Why is this in here? Why is that hanging that way? Why do we have that chair? I hate that chair. Right? So people had a visceral reaction to things around them, but it's the appreciation exercise. If you love or feel great about the majority of things in your room, you just need to do a few tweaks.
Okay. I need to do that. I need to do that for a couple things.
Right? Are you waiting for our guestie?
Yes, I think our guestie has just arrived.
Oh, fantastic.
But why is it that then a whole family, even my twin brother, can have that, and then Lukey doesn't have the same eye that my father, my twin, my mother, my sister? Oh my God, my brother's just top realtor in LA. Why don't I have? What is it? How do you explain that?
Well, it's just like anything. It's like music. It's like language. It's like math. It's it's just, are you left brain or right brain? That's not. We didn't make that up. That's actual real stuff, right? So it's something you can learn, but most of it is innate. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
We want to bring our guestie in.
I'm going to get out of this shot for a second and bring our guestie in.
Okay.
Because basically what my sister just told me is that it's not going to happen, Lucia. But I'm going to do the 12 o'clock. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Oh my God.
Yay.
Mr. Ruiz.
So excited.
Mr. Ruiz.
Please.
Oh my God. Welcome, baby.
Have a seat over here, but in front of the glass. Please. How are you? So nice to see you. Good. Yay.
Get this stuff out of the way, and please, sir, make yourself comfortable.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited that you're here.
I'm very excited.
Welcome to the Design Meets Live podcast. Would you like a little bit of cava, some bubbly, sir, before we commence? Also, ignore the nibbled pieces because we've been here for hours just having a wonderful time.
Well, you always do.
Welcome to the Design Meets Live podcast. Folks, we are being joined, if you can see him on the side whenever we shoot it, but this is Senor Gustavo Ruiz joining us here on the Design Meets Live podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start with the nitty gritty because I was just mentioning how we met maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago already.
10, yeah.
We were
Time
still
flies.
thin, young, and gorgeous then and now today. But
Time flies.
you were just, your company was just a little, just starting.
Well, it was our first years. We were coming out from a crisis,
Right.
and it was a wonderful journey. And now here we are.
Hi, Madonna. You know what? I have stolen your... There you go.
Okay.
If you can take that for you. But also, can we all just do a little ching-ching
Cheers.
before we
Yes,
get
please.
together? Because we are here designing our life and meeting the life and meeting Senor Gustavo Ruiz of Shoot Studios here.
You have to go
yes.
in. You have to check out the website for anybody who's in design, who loves to be surrounded by beautiful things that we were talking about. Some of your spaces are absolutely stunning, and I mean, you just want to live there. You just want to be there. I just want to just spend the day rolling around on the floor in some of these places, and I'm not kidding. We toured, and I was in awe.
Thank you. When people say that, I feel that we've done what we were meant to do because that's our claim. I want to live there. Like the slogan for the company is Quiero vivir ahí. And we made these spaces because when we started, we didn't know anything about the production world. We came like by
babies.
coincidence. And it started flowing. We started as the first low-cost studio, I think, in Spain or in Europe.
Really?
Because we were not meant to do that. We had a space. We didn't know what to do with it because my business partner, he's a photographer. And then all of a sudden, we started renting it out. It started working because it was really cheap, but the space was really small. Then we got one. Then we got another one, and at one point last year we had 5 locations, and
so good too.
And people were like, but,
5 of them.
yes. And
Madonna.
But let me just say that one of them is not just a space. Okay, let's be real. It is the quintessential classic, gorgeous modernism apartment in the city, and it truly is one of those dream spaces.
It's
that-
like 4 homes in one.
no, it's huge.
or 10.
Exactly.
When you have like back entrances and secret entrances for the help, that's where the line is drawn. You can imagine the life that was lived in this place, and it's just magical. It really is.
What attracted you to that space?
Well, we were in need because we didn't know what was going to happen with 2 of the spaces, and we started looking out. And this one had a really pricey tag, and we were like, no. But we just went to see it, and we were like, there is a lot of work to do here because it was not abandoned, but people have been working there for 30 years, and they hadn't repainted or changed
In that building.
in
that
that space. It was offices,
Wow.
and it had like a really vintage retro
Okay.
style, but I think it was not meant to be
No.
like that.
No.
It was like they didn't care because they were
They didn't
only-
look up
no.
because the ceilings are absolutely spectacular.
But that was the only thing that was nice about the space. It was
yeah.
it was like an old co-working space
Wow.
with a lot of
Cords?
tables and the most horrible lamps that you can imagine. But they didn't care because it was not their job.
No.
Like it was only a place to do business, and they had all the floorings covered by carpets with double tape, and they damaged the whole
No.
flooring. But it
To
was
you,
okay.
as an artist who sees that kind of stuff, did it freak you out?
No, he
No,
saw
the-
the potential. I know
Okay.
you did.
The
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
when you go
Amen.
inside
Okay.
a space, I'm not a designer, and my business partner he's not a designer, but we love design and we love pretty things. And when we see a space, even if it's damaged or abandoned, we can see
Exactly.
the possibilities.
Okay.
And when we got there, we were like, how can this be empty for 2 years?
Oh my gosh.
But it was because it was so expensive.
What
and
year
they-
was this, if I may ask?
Hmm?
What,
What
year
year?
was that?
Well, we got it 1 year and a half,
Okay.
Okay.
but they left it, I think, after the pandemic. So, but because it was a really big space for the people that were there, they
Right.
didn't need that much space. And when we got there, we were like, we're gonna do an offer, make an offer, and let's see.
Okay.
And they said yes. And at first, even when it was not finished, we had clients coming. to
People
show-
wouldn't even care if it was not finished. It's so
No,
incredible.
no. We had clients that were afraid.
Oh.
They were calling us crazy. What are you doing? You lost your mind?
Because from where you were moving, it was already established? Or,
Yes.
Well, but they didn't know we were moving. We didn't know that we were moving. So
How could you not move into that space, though?
No, because the idea was to keep both of them if we
Yes.
could, but we couldn't. And well, we could, but it was a very long story.
You
We
know
don't
what?
have
'Cause
time
we
for
keep
that.
talking about the space, but I want to remind everybody that we got to tour, and I took some photos. I'm going to take some little. I'll show that. So after this, we'll post on YouTube the video, so anybody listening to this can actually see what we're talking about, because it's absolutely gorgeous space. You've done an incredible job with it.
And beyond that, what other productions can we do in that space? Because, like you said, it's 10 homes in one.
We've had like anything you can ask for. We've even had requests. We haven't done it like services after like.
Production, movies,
No.
parties.
When people pass away.
Oh,
We've had requests for
funeral
celebrating
services.
life.
okay. So
but-
live celebration parties.
Yes. But
Wow.
Is that what we're calling them now?
We are. Can I have a being single party?
You can,
Okay.
we have requests for anything, and because we have different spaces, we've had requests for children birthdays in abandoned spaces that we say no because it's not
It's
safe.
dangerous.
Or,
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Well, it's not dangerous, but like it doesn't feel right.
Right.
But one less kid. I mean, who knows?
But
Oh, stop.
we've had celebrities from Hollywood.
I bet.
Famous
Oh, yeah.
singers, soccer players, video clips, meetings.
Parties would be so perfect there.
We've
Nick,
had
sleep. But you have
major
to-
brands doing like launching parties.
Yes, of course.
And like when people ask me, "Can I do this?" and I'm like, if you have the imagination and
Sure.
and you have the budget, you can do whatever you want.
Speaking of imagination, it's brilliant the way you have it set up with everything is mobile and movable because it needs to be. The bones are there of the house, right? So you've got the flooring, you've got the incredible ceilings, right? You've put in some really beautiful lighting. The rest of it
You
can move in and out. It can change. I love that.
If you want to paint everything except the ceilings, you can do whatever you want. You can make an explosion there, and
Yeah.
if after you leave, it's like it was before.
Yes.
We don't mind because we are used to it.
Right.
Like we started because there are a lot of locations here in Barcelona because of the weather.
Sure.
But there are private locations. There are somebody's house, and at your place. Maybe it's not.
You can't do this. You can do yeah.
Or you
restrictions.
have furniture that has sentimental value.
Right.
Like we care about our furniture and our
Right,
pieces,
right.
but if it breaks, then you can repair it or you can buy a new one because
You can buy us a new one. That's what you're saying?
no, like
You break it, you buy it.
it has
for you.
its purpose, and if it breaks because there's an accident, we don't mind. But
Right.
if you do that in a private
Of course.
house,
Yeah, of
it
course.
can be your grandma's or you bought it in a trip or
Ming
in your
Dynasty
honeymoon.
vase.
So like exactly, we
Too
we
bad.
don't have a
There's no emotional attachment. Right.
exactly to anything. So you can do whatever you want, even if it's a crazy idea. We don't mind.
I
Like
love this.
But I have a question then. Did you have an aha moment? Aha moment. How should we say it? How does it really?
The aha moment.
The aha moment when you realize, I'm a creative. I need to be doing this.
Because you left something else. You left, marketing, which is still creative, but this is truly immersing yourself
that.
in the world.
the thing that I started engineering.
Okay. All right.
I'm a
What?
box
A leap.
full of surprises.
You are.
Blossoming flower.
in my city, I couldn't do
And
advertising.
your city is?
I'm from Dominican Republic, Santiago.
There you go.
Nobody knows it exists, but it's a very important city for Dominican people.
Yes, of course.
It's in the center, so there are not many tourists, but it's beautiful. It's like green and full of nice people, and the weather is great. It's humid, but it's good. The lowest temperature is almost 25 degrees.
Wow.
So it's heaven.
Consistently tropical.
And I started doing that, but I wanted to do advertising. And before that, I loved computers since I was a small child. I was the first child to bring a presentation, like our paper with a computer. We are young.
Everybody's like, what's this?
No, it was
We're
like
only
a
29.
printout, and they were like, because it was third grade, and people used to do, and I did it by myself,
I
and
love it.
Here comes little Gus with a computer.
Yeah, he's like, hold on, let me change that
I
on the
started
fly.
with paint.
Really?
Like I love paint.
Okay,
The
so
windows.
it's always been there then.
Yes, but I didn't know. And then when I went to college, people started asking me for doing their PowerPoints,
Oh, there you go.
and I started doing them for free. And then I started charging
Because it got to be a demand.
well, I had 1 year like 10 theses,
Yeah.
and it was like it's time consuming. It's
Yeah,
not
of
like
course, of course.
and it was cheap, but it was okay. And then I
He's
came-
always been an entrepreneur, is what he's
That's-
telling
that's
us.
exactly what I'm
Yes,
saying.
that's what
Well,
he's
my
telling
mother
us.
was afraid of me because I used to long when I was a really small child to my
What do you call it?
the other students,
Yeah,
Your
classmates.
cla- your
Hello.
classmates, like 1 peso. That's like
She's like, it's too cheap, mijo. It's too cheap. You need
no.
to
She was afraid because I was doing.
You're not gonna get it
money.
back.
I was making
making money
when
in school.
and
Is this okay?
No, my mom was like,
So
if
cute,
they,
though,
if,
excuse
if,
me.
if you get,
So
if you give them
cute.
1 peso and then the next day is 2 pesos, that's maybe a crime or
No, usury.
Yes, exactly. But it was like it was not a lot of money, but
Extortion. And
no,
what's happening?
it was you tell me that you need it, and I tell you what you need to give me the next day.
Años 80, 90, right?
Yeah,
80s,
yeah.
90s,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Well, 90s.
So,
So
yes,
funny.
90s, dark 90s. We are
yeah,
thin,
yeah,
young,
yeah.
and gorgeous. Now, so then you're doing this at a young age. Engineering, though, I had no idea. So how did the whole creative
Yeah.
thing
When
come
was that
about?
moment? Was that a year and a half ago when you got this space, or was
No,
it?
no,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
no.
When did the light bulb
Well, I
go
came
off?
to do a master in communications, but then I did one in graphic design.
There you go.
Okay.
But I already knew what they were teaching me, but I didn't know. And I started doing that. They hired me as a designer, and the rest is history. I've done whatever I learned since I was a child until I did the master, doing that for my company.
You know what? You just said something that's I think is really poignant, because I have found in asking that question from a lot of people, designers, artists, whatever, and everyone feels like, oh, well, I need to go to school for this, right? And so then when you sit down in class, your first class for whatever it is, if you already feel like, I know this, I already know this. Oh, that's what it's called? I didn't know it was called that, but I already know this, and I know this, that's when you're in your thing.
Yes,
That's when you're in your thing.
And when you don't feel like you're working because it goes naturally, it's what you are meant to do.
Yes.
Supposed to do.
When I started my studio, we were a really tiny company. I was not getting paid a lot because we were starting, but I felt so free and so happy, and I didn't have to be like on Sunday, oh, tomorrow's Monday, I need to go to work. No,
Yeah.
it was like another
Yay.
day. Yes, and we didn't care. Once we have 45 days without one single empty slot in the agenda.
Was that the best 45 days?
We were tired. People
course,
were like,
of
"Oh, are you
course.
okay?" We were happy, but we were tired.
Yeah.
But
Tired and happy is
but
a
we
good
didn't care.
combo.
That is a good combo.
Tired and happy is probably one of the best combos you could ask for in life.
I have friends that they tell me, "But what can I do? What should I do? Because I'm not happy." I always tell them, I'm an Excel guy. I do everything in Excel. I design with Excel, and then I paint.
Okay.
Wow.
You have to
That's an engineer right there. That was spoken like an engineer right
Straight
there.
up.
Yeah.
like make columns.
yeah.
What you like, what you are good at, what you are good at and you don't like, and what you hate.
Okay.
And then, if you are in a position where you can do what you like small things that you like at your work, it will make your workplace and yourself happier. Because if you are in a place that you don't like, you don't enjoy, and you're not doing anything that you like, I know the people have to pay rent and they have debts, but
But at what cost, right? At what cost?
No, and you can make something out of
right.
anything. Like if you're an accountant, you like drawing, maybe make your presentations prettier, or
There you go.
And
It's designing meeting your life.
Yes, it is.
That's exactly what it is. And in fact, what you just said, sir, goes back to what you said about 30 minutes ago, where go into the space, see the things, how does it, and you just said you make, okay, the things I like, the things I will not like, the things that, this separation of things, that the two of them in a way fit in
They
tandem
100%
together.
do.
And
Yes.
so do you take your own advice and create that into your own life? How do you put that into your, or can you put it into a situational, like a relationship as well? I'm trying to get deep here.
I don't know, because I think I'm happy, and I always say I always say the excuse that I'm Dominican, I don't stress.
I love that.
That's not reality.
It's not a reality, but the other Dominicanos are like that too.
But I take it like with the flow, and if something's happening, it's because it has to happen.
Yep.
I agree.
And you cannot fight against destiny or whatever is happening. And what you have to do is try to, if you don't like it or you're not happy, try to change it or adapt. And if you go against it or you get angry all the time,
You're fighting uphill battle, right?
and you're not making anything out of that. Like
Right.
if you can, like I always say, I don't get preoccupied. I occupy.
Right.
Or if it has a solution, why do I worry?
Right.
If it doesn't, why do I worry?
Right.
And-
There is always a solution. That's the fallacy,
And
right?
if there's no solution, you go with it.
Right.
Like
But there is always a solution. The result is the solution, right? It might not be what you thought it was going to be,
Yeah.
right?
It could be death, but there's a solution.
Well, there is always an answer, people. I'm sorry, but whatever
Yeah.
the result is the solution. Now, it might not be the thing that you've focused on, but that's the problem with not going with the flow, like you said, right? So don't you find that when people let go and just continue, right? Just keep going.
And if you don't like it, and you hate it, and you push so much effort in hating it, maybe you will never find that you might like it.
That's right.
But because you are so focused that you don't want to know anything about that, you're only thinking about the negative things. But if you sit down, you're like, okay, this is what I have to do.
Right.
Maybe you will like it.
Yep.
And maybe you're good at it. And even if you don't like and you're good at it, maybe if you excel in that,
Right.
you will love it at the end.
Amen.
And if not, what are you doing with your life?
Is there?
No, sometimes I go to
It's so real.
That's true.
a fast food chain or a store, and you don't get like a welcome.
healthy-
Like people are not happy.
Right.
When I got here, that's one of the things that we built. What we built, I felt not very welcomed. It was a crisis. I arrived 5 months before the big crisis, and people were not happy. They were losing their houses, and I felt attacked sometimes. And I was like, if I build something, I'm gonna make people feel like home.
Comfortable. Yeah. Welcome.
And when we started our first studio, it was an empty space. It was nice. We had good colors. Well, at the time. Now.
It's following the trend. It's okay. Yeah.
And,
At the time.
but people were like, oh, this is so cozy. It was the smaller place in the whole world. But it worked.
It worked.
And we always were like, we want to make people feel good all the time. When they come in and people send emails, is it true what you're selling? Is it good? Like, it's so cheap that it cannot be true.
Right.
But when they came in, it was like, it's better than what I thought it would
course.
be. And then
Because you gave value and it was real. I think the problem is sometimes, like you were mentioning, when people they're not happy or they're just running through their daily lives, right? And they're not happy. It's hard to, when you're so focused on negativity, it's hard to look outward. And when you don't look outward, then you're not being welcoming, right? So they weren't able to.
to connect to
No, you can't connect. Where you guys are like, yeah, it's great and we're great and welcome. And people changed, right? Like that.
And then we started going with the flow, and we started changing the type of business that we had. We started making it look like a house. It's very hard to, like an empty space that nobody lives there. What we sell is spaces for advertising,
Right.
mostly. Or, for example, when you come for a corporate meeting, I always tell the client, this is not a hotel,
Right.
a meeting room.
Right.
If
This
you
is a
want it
house.
empty and looks very cold, don't.
This
Why
is not it.
why are you coming here? Like when you come to our space, it's a place where people used to live, and we've tried to keep all the
You have.
details, or like even with the furniture.
Yeah.
And people like, but every time they come, but do you live here? And because it looks
It does look-
cozy.
it
It
does.
looks lived in as well.
Yeah.
It looks like a home.
I love
And
it.
like, oh, who designed this? We didn't study. We like, and sometimes we are like, why did we do?
That's okay. Everybody says that.
Oh, why
Even
did I-
designers say that.
Why
Trust
did I
me.
keep-
Yeah, trust me.
Why did I put this chair and
Yeah.
it has been there for 5 years? It doesn't make sense.
That's right.
then people are, for example, I have a lot of designer friends, and they start talking with a last name, or I don't know anything about that.
You
like,
need a blah 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 over here, right?
and the chair, blah blah blah. And I'm like, this chair is from the garbage.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't.
Exactly.
That's
the beauty.
No, and if you have 1 million euros, you can.
Of course. Look, I always say that the most creative projects ever that I've even had the pleasure of doing, or anyone else has had the pleasure of doing, is when you have a shoestring budget. When you're on a budget, you have to be creative.
Yep.
When you don't have a budget, unlimited, you just walk in and go, "I'll take that," and then right?
And it will
This
look
is the
like
mother of invention.
Yes.
it will look like impersonal.
Impersonal. Yes,
yes.
100%.
And it will look like every
Anybody
other
can do
space.
it. Anybody can do that. Yeah.
And when people like, I'm gonna go to this store. I'm not gonna I'm gonna say any brands.
Right.
Oh, you're gonna go there. I like
Why
the
not?
chair. I like.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's €1 or 10
Right.
It is a major factor.
But it
know,
happens
I
also in
agree.
production. When you
Really?
have a lot of money, how can the advertising be bad if you have such
a big
But-
budget for
Right.
that.
But when you are tight
You
and
have
it
to get
looks
creative.
amazing,
Yeah.
for me that has a greater value because that's how you know that you are a good professional.
That's right.
You know,
I-
something he said. Please.
I've had, for example, production companies from abroad, and they come and they ask for our help. And they sometimes we know the suppliers because we've been doing this for many years.
Yeah.
And they send me a list, and I'm like, why do they need this if they're gonna take a picture only? Why do you
Right.
need 200 flashes? And it's because they've done it so many times, and
They're not even thinking about it, right?
No, and somebody sent this list once, and it worked perfectly.
That's
So
right.
it's gonna always be the same.
That's right.
But
But that's
you-
somebody who doesn't actually know what's happening. That is somebody who's just following what they've seen, and like if it's not broke, right? Kind of in
Yeah.
theory. Yeah.
Yes, but that's when the client starts complaining,
Too much money is being spent.
and nowadays it's getting worse
Right.
because everybody
Right.
is cutting from
That's
everywhere.
That's right.
And if you hire somebody that works only with big budgets, they won't do a good thing with smaller budgets.
No, it's very interesting. The big budget companies, for their advertising, you're dead on, right? Having done some set design, the bigger it is, the more removed the people are that you're actually speaking to from the person that actually has a vision for the product. So there's more people in between, and the more people that are in between, the less you get what you want,
Certo.
right? As opposed to just, let's just talk this through.
This was if I may really quickly, that is exactly, I remember about 20 years ago, my sister was Martha Stewart's personal assistant for years.
Wonderful.
That is her big thing.
Right.
That was one of her big things was, and she, she's very much hands-on and control of the thing,
Yeah.
but also it was a mess. For her, it was a major thing for it to look incredibly expensive without having to have that
Exactly.
exorbitant budget.
And that's what most of us designers relish in when we use vintage and antique. I'm not just saying that because I'm in that world in the moment, but it's true because it gives a provenance to things and it's unique, right? Nobody else has it. So there's something wonderful here that you mentioned in Barcelona, and I'm sure in other European places as well, but in Barcelona, a certain day of the week in different neighborhoods, if you don't want an item, a piece of art, furniture, whatever, it's just put on the street for someone else to take and use. Okay, I have got some really cool things from walking around Saria.
In reality, it's for the municipality to get it
Exactly.
and put it in the trash.
Right.
But if you do the tour
Yes.
that day, and there are some really
Really,
nice
really
neighborhoods,
nice neighborhoods,
where
yeah.
they have really nice furniture,
Yes.
or even like a little stain that
Yeah.
you can clean it out.
Absolutely.
They throw it away,
I know.
and we have a lot of those. And
There's some, we call it
You
this-
would never know that Shooter Studios has anything like that inside.
Well, you've got a lot of vintage pieces, so they look really incredible,
It's
and so
absolutely
people don't
great.
know. And then you mix in. So a lot of designers will mix in. I mean, I will say the other store that we won't mention, all the time we balance out some things with a really cool light from there, and then you've got your vintage piece. And when you do the combo, people don't know. We joke about it in fashion. We're like, oh yeah, I'm wearing Target underwear. Target is a brand in America, right? In the States.
Yeah.
It would be like saying Al Campo.
But if it's good,
Right.
it's good.
Carrefour.
Right?
I found
Got
some great
underwear.
stuff at Tesco back in the UK back in the day.
Right, but you mix, right? You're wearing your
Straight up.
Versace shirt and your Target bra. So my Al Campo bra.
Well,
is that.
they did an experiment with selling Payless. Is a
Payless, yes.
and they
Right.
changed their branding and they
That's
put
right.
a fancy name. People were spending hundreds
On
of
the
dollars on the same shoe.
Exactly.
Oh, because they invited
US?
influencers
Yes.
in the US.
Of course.
And
yeah.
people were like, at the end, they were shown. Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
even Target. I mean, Target has done stuff with Issey Miyake, Cynthia Rowley.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I mean, they've done.
no, but the
so
one
many-
that I'm telling you is the one that you see and you're like,
Exactly.
because it's not in the
Payless.
best place, or
No, no.
you have
Never.
negative opinion
Yeah,
of
of
something
course.
that you've never tried.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you think it's cheap or
Right.
or only
It's context for everything. Everything matters in context, right? So that means the space it's in, the room it's in, whoever's wearing it, whatever the design is. Even a piece of art, you can take something that is beautiful, classical, take it out of the fancy frame, and stick it in a gray, dark, dingy corner. No one on the planet is going to know that that's anything of quality, right? So it's just context. And the
Well,
way it is, you put a light on it, put a frame on it, boom, now you've got something to focus
in New
on.
York they've put violinists
Yes.
in the subway
Right.
that they were playing at the Carnegie
Carnegie Hall, yeah.
and people were not paying attention, and people were like amazed,
Wait a minute, yeah.
and it was the same person that you're paying hundreds
Exactly.
of dollars.
Didn't Yo-Yo Ma do this? Actually?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't know
He
the
did
name,
this
but
actually
Yes,
a
yeah.
couple
I
years
never,
ago.
I never know the name.
That's okay. You just like what you like, but
Exactly.
it's a great experiment.
Yeah, this is the,
It is a
Well,
great
it's
experiment.
better to like what you like and not being
Following the trends.
Exactly.
No, we don't do trends here. We
You
can
mean
talk
like the
about them.
sheeple? We can
Well,
talk
you
about-
can
Yeah.
do them, but
You know what? When we talk about trends, it's so funny because it's just, we know it's a device for selling. So those of us who are in marketing know that a trend is just that. Color of the year. Does that mean you're going to change everything in your world? No. Blue eyeshadow's in next year, kids. Everybody do it. For men, it's whatever. No. A trend is a trend just to highlight.
Flip-flops and socks.
Right. Well, it just depends on where you're from, right? But the trend is a marketing thing, and it just highlights something, right? You always think, how many different ways can you do a dress or a shirt or this? And then you're mystified and amazed by finding something that's really cool. If you love it, that's your trend, right? That's it. Same with the house. Same with the things that you put in it, or anybody that comes into one of your spaces, right? They can turn those spaces into something exactly what they want.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of what you guys have created.
and we love it because we have a fully furnished space, and I couldn't live in an empty space. Like I couldn't work there because I would die.
Right.
But when I see the changes, it's like
Right.
and now in advertising and movies and series they put a lot of smoke and the light coming in and you
Right.
see the ray of light.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's design psychology, folks. Like you just said, you spurned something where you said I couldn't live in an empty space, and I try to get people to understand how impactful your surroundings are. So you work in a space like that, but imagine waking up in a space that doesn't have windows, doors, and is completely filled with boxes of things. How are you going to wake up every morning? Please tell me. Oh my gosh. Right. Miserable. So it
Well, it
impacts
depends
you.
on what you put value in because there are a lot of like film sets or photo sets are empty spaces.
Of course,
like
right.
warehouses.
Right.
But to live in that.
No,
Yeah.
but I don't live in my space, but I would die every
Right.
day in a white
Right.
white canvas.
It's institutional. It doesn't feel warm. We need things that are
But
warm around
when
us.
we started, we wanted that.
Right.
And until we
Realized. Yeah.
and we were happy because we had a lot of work.
Right.
But we had flooring.
Sure.
And you had different textures, but if it was all empty,
Right.
and people ask me sometimes, why don't you have a cyclorama, a wide space for filming? It's not what I want to do. Like, everybody has that, and there are many that you can go to. What will make me different? And I don't enjoy that. Like, I could do more business maybe,
Right.
having two type of
Studios.
or services, but for me is doing.
The differentiation of that.
Yes, and we have many people that, like other studios, that they come after us, and people, oh, you're a competition. No, competitors.
Yeah.
We are friends.
Yes.
We like on Thursday we went to an opening of one of
That's
our
great.
competitors,
Yeah.
and they were like, oh, you're no,
Yeah.
we are friends.
Right.
If I have my spaces full, I can send them clients, or if my space doesn't.
Collaboration.
And we have to make that work too, because like if you're only thinking about making money yourself
Right.
and not giving the client the full service,
It's going to come through. You know that's going to show.
and they won't remember you.
That's
like, I started on another website called VCN Locations. It's a website for
Yeah.
other people's locations,
Right.
because sometimes I didn't have space, and I didn't want to say no to the client.
Right.
I wanted them, if they go to another space, to feel treated like if they're coming to
So
my
that's why
space.
you have friends that you know you can confidently refer out and say, these people are my friends and they're
Or even
Amen.
if they're not my friends, like I've had people have amazing houses, but they were not really nice on the phone, and I'm like, why should I have your
Yeah.
house feature in my website if you're not being nice to me,
Be
and you're
amiable.
being the one calling me?
This is not a good start.
Wow. Really?
I've had
Still?
people- I have
this is not a good
an
start.
amazing 4-story house in the upper side of the city, and they start talking to their children in the middle of the conversation. I'm like, why did
Are
you
we
call
serious?
me?
Yeah.
Why are you calling me in the middle of you picking up your children that you know that you don't have time for me?
Yeah.
And sorry. Oh, I'm gonna call you later.
Oh, my God.
yeah.
No. See,
There's
bad
some
form.
professionalism that needs to happen. You know what? Speaking of private houses, I just want to talk about the castle.
Their life
really
hasn't met
quick.
design. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think that we're supposed to.
No, the
actually.
castle.
That
you can-
castle.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you want to
Yeah,
shout
the
it out.
Clay Castle. I want it. Well, just
Well,
you have some
it's a
beautiful
convent.
spots. Oh, it's a convent.
But it had a castle
Ah.
from the 10th century.
Madonna.
Ah,
Yes, 10th.
incredible.
And this is located
Yeah.
in Catalonia, correct?
Yes, it's 1 hour away from Barcelona, and we are planning on what to do with that, because
I can't wait. Can't wait to see.
We have so many ideas. What we do is something that we love, but we want maybe that.
I can see the creativity. I can see the wheels turning in your head.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
well,
I can hear
Straight
them
up.
spinning in your head.
And like
Yeah.
10 years ago, we went to my business partner and I. We went to a bed and breakfast in France.
Ah,
When we got there, it was awful. It was raining.
Oh.
We were with the dog, our dog, and there were dogs. They were gonna attack our dog.
My nerves.
We were like 1 minute away from like the Simpsons when the intro, where the power plant, or and we were like, where are we going?
where'd we go?
And then 1 minute away, it disappeared. You couldn't see it. It was the most amazing place in the whole world. It's like 15 minutes away from Aix-en-Provence.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
sounds like a
always
road
an
trip.
ex. What?
It's
Shout out.
the name is La Ferrade. It's amazing, the space.
Okay.
And since then, my business partner and I, we were like,
What do we
at
do?
the end of our lives, we were gonna have this.
I see this.
And
Do you see the creativity happening right now?
I mean, honestly.
He's
I'm
designing a
looking it
new
up.
chapter as we speak.
and we were like, we love having people
I love
around,
this.
and maybe we don't know, because we were talking about hotel, but we don't know anything about hospitality.
That's okay. I think you do. I'm
no,
sorry,
but
I think
like
you
in
do.
a big scale.
Yeah, that's
like
okay.
10 bedrooms is I think it's manageable.
Yes.
And we are going through that, because now we have also the church next to the convent. It's gonna be a place for weddings.
Okay.
Oh.
The church, we negotiated with the church, and we're gonna, it's in ruins. Everything is in ruins. We're
Why
gonna.
do I see you as the mayor of this town?
I'm always kidding about this, but I think
Really?
I think I might.
I
In the future,
I really do. I really do. I have this vision, and again, you're designing another chapter.
But-
Actually, it's a whole nother volume.
Yeah, well, it's because when we got there, we felt very welcomed. I love the area, and nobody knows about this. Even people from here, they're like,
What is this? Yeah.
what? I don't understand. Why did you buy that there? And when they come, it's like,
Of course, it would take a second to see.
people
Yeah.
were when we first went to see that place. Are you crazy? Because it's 2,000 square meters
And 1,000 years old.
in ruins.
It's so stunning, though. It's on the website if people want to see it again.
Yes,
We'll
and
post
and
it.
it was like, we have to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that when we went there, it was March. It was a beautiful day. Like the lights were coming from.
Everything's lining up.
When we bought it, the first time we went, it was not like that. It was dark and gray and very, very, very cold.
The
But
day
that-
you it became yours, it was sunny and perfect.
And the day that, like, if it's in ruins and it's cold, it doesn't look that appealing.
Right.
But when it's finished, it won't matter if it's
Absolutely.
foggy or.
Do you have an end date of when that could be
No.
finished?
That's okay. I
We are-
love
Exactly.
this journey. This is so fun.
We are planning on doing our business plan. We don't know where we're gonna get investors because we've never done that, and
It's exciting.
and we need to figure it out if we want it or because we have to pass doing it quickly
Right.
or slowly.
I say slowly because I can see that. Reforming it and remodeling it is a must, no matter what you do. So even if you want to film in it, you have to do it to standards, right? So it's historically beautiful and all of those things, because that's probably part of the deal, right?
Yes, but we can find people that have sensibility
Yes.
that can invest,
Yeah.
but we don't know yet because if
It's exciting though.
Yeah. I'm always talking to people. Maybe we can do a TV show remodeling. A
Sounds good
comeback.
to
That's
me.
what I'm saying.
I think we can probably have some conversations about that. I love the idea, and I can't wait to see this happen. Right?
And we also need to give a shout out again of Shoot Is Studios. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you? Because we need to start wrapping up our podcast.
Yes.
But how can people get a hold of you if they want to?
Well, you can visit our website,
Which
It's
is?
called Shoot Studios with an E in Spanish.
Yeah.
Because people say Shoot Studios. No, Shoot Studios. Our Instagram, TikTok, anything is Shoot Studios.
Studios.
And well, you can, if you want to see it, even if you don't want to be a client, I love people coming in. Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Folks, take advantage of
Oh,
what Mr.
yeah.
Ruiz is saying right
Yeah.
now.
I love
Yeah.
to show it's
It's
like
great.
my children, like,
Yeah.
and when I show them the before and after, it's like,
Oh my God.
Incredible.
so.
Well, folks, and this is the wrap up of Design Meets Life. Lady Kelly Ellis,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
So much fun.
I loved it. I loved every minute. I can't wait to talk about how we are designing our lives every second.
And remember to design your life for you as well. Include you in it.
That's
because
right.
if you're not giving to yourself and you're just throwing it out, you got to learn to replenish that.
Okay.
Folks, Design Meets Life. This is Gustavo Ruiz as well of shootestudios.com here in Barcelona.
And we'll post everything on our YouTubes and our socials, right?
And we're going to see you next month as well. Because we're
right.
going to be bringing you what's good in the hood always. Because with design meets
Meets
life.
life.
Bye, everybody. See you on the flip side. Have a good day. Have a good week.